I can't dance. Hey guys, welcome to Cosplay Life. I'm Air Bear, and today we are going to be going over step 2 of the foam armor making process, which is cutting out the craft foam. If you are looking for step 1, check in the description box for a link to that video. Step 1 is making the template, by the way. But if you're ready to see step 2, which is cutting out the craft foam, stay tuned. Side note. I'm facing to the side, so it's a side note. My gauntlet has scales on it, and because it has scales, I needed to use a thinner craft foam, 2mm thick, because I have so many layers. If you are not doing scales and you're not doing some sort of design that has a bunch of layers stacked on top of each other, use 5mm thick craft foam. That's what I used on the trim. That 5mm thick craft foam is going to give you the thickness that you want to make it look substantial. But 2mm thick craft foam on its own is going to be really thin and look kind of flimsy. So I would use 5mm thick craft foam if I weren't doing the scales and if I were just doing a solid layer. All right, now back to the video. The materials that I'll be using for this step are the paper template from the previous step. I'll be using a penny, ignore the dime, 5mm thick craft foam for the trim, 2mm thick craft foam for the base of the gauntlet. Remember, if you're not adding scales or using multiple layers, use 5mm craft foam for the base. Craft foam scraps are 5mm thick and 2mm thick. Cutting tools, which include my box cutter, sharpening stone thingy, WD-40, and an X-Acto knife. Painter's tape, Sharpies, ballpoint pen, scissors, ruler, black felt, and fabric scissors or a rotary cutter. To start, you are going to lay your template on the foam that you are using as the base of your gauntlet. For me, that's my 2mm thick foam. Another side note, I'm still facing off to the side. In this video, I refer to like the base or the main part of the gauntlet as the base. These other parts down here, like the border up here and down here, I call the trim. So when I'm referring to the base, I'm talking about this main piece of craft foam that all the other pieces are being glued onto. When I'm talking about the scales, I am referring to these little scallops right there. Use painter tape to hold down your design. I no longer use pins because it leaves tiny little holes in my armor that will expand with the heat gun. Trace around the outside of your template. When I'm tracing, I trace around the outside first and skip the pieces with the tape on them. And then I lift the pieces of tape one by one and trace underneath each one. That way the template doesn't move around while I'm tracing it. Next, I sharpen my blade. I spray the WD-40 on the stone and rub the blade on it in an arc, like a rainbow. I'm sure this is not how you're supposed to do it, but it's worked this far, right? So I forgot to record this part. Well, actually, I thought it was recording and I wasn't recording. But I would just use this to cut inside the line all the way around in order to cut this out. Let's see. I cut inside the line. After cutting out the base of my gauntlet, I need to cut the trim. So I cut the trim off of my template first, and do the same thing for the top trim. Then I mark where the trim goes on my base. This helps with placing the scales, and it also helps when I am ready to glue everything down. Set the trim template aside. Next, I'm going to start the process for cutting the scales. If you want to skip past this part because you're not adding scales, skip ahead to the time shown on the screen. Otherwise, hold on to your butts! I use the ruler to draw 3/4 inch thick lines to help me get the scallop edge straight. Next, I trace the penny over and over again as shown. I use scissors to cut this because I'm using 2mm thick craft foam and I cannot be as precise with the box cutter or X-Acto knife. So I have already completely cut out the other gauntlet. That way you guys didn't have to sit and watch me struggle through figuring out how to put the scales on in the video. I'm just referencing the other gauntlet to make sure they start off the exact same. I also mark how many scallops I use so that I can more easily figure out what I need next. I don't know why I'm showing this to you. You can't see it, but pretend like you can see a number 8 there. Yeah, I accidentally used a scallop row that was too long, so I had to switch it. When I place the scallops, I stagger them so that the gaps of the previous rows are covered by the hump of the current row. And continue to trace, cut, and place until you question your decision about doing this. Then trace, cut, and place some more. You don't have to place each row with painter's tape. I'm doing that so that I know I have enough rows and so that I know it will look right. Now for the trim. I previously cut the trim off my template. Now I will use it to cut my 5mm thick craft foam. I use scraps because why not? Ain't nobody got time to be going up and down the road, back and forth to no dang Hobby Lobby picking up craft foam every 2 days. So I use scraps when I can. So you're going to cut this the same way. Tape it down, trace it, then cut inside the black line or Sharpie line, whatever color line you used. Make sure you sharpen your blade before you start cutting. Try to cut in a continuous line as much as possible. It's less work you have to clean up later. And do the same with the top trim. Now, part of my design was to have 3 equidistant lines on the top. So I am measuring and cutting those now. Next, I will use my X-Acto knife because I can make thinner cuts with it. I don't want to cut all the way through the foam, just about halfway. Cutting foam will dull your blades very quickly, so sharpen them often or your cuts won't be clean. So now I'm cutting my felt liner. I probably should have cut this before I removed my trim, but yeah. My felt is filthy because cosplay life, so I'm just using the sticker to clean it. I line my foam armor and felt so that my skin can breathe. Otherwise, the foam will be too hot and cause you to sweat. I pinned the template down. And I decided to use the rotary cutter. I could have also used the fabric scissors, but I didn't. Oh, at this point, I realized that I could cut 2 at the same time. So I stacked them and cut 2. Then I realized I was better off cutting 1 at a time. And that's it! So that about does it for how I cut the craft foam to make this gauntlet. The next step in the process, step 3, is going to be gluing. If you want to see that video, make sure you hit subscribe and click on the notification bell. That way you can get a notification when I release that video. If you are looking for any of the steps in the process, check the description box below. As the videos release, we will be updating the description boxes and putting the links to the videos in the description boxes. Can I say description boxes any more time? If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Deuces! Bye. Woo! Oh yeah, that's a Little Mermaid skirt right there. That was a process. It's not gonna look like that when it's done. Like, it's not gonna have this weird stuff hanging off of it. It's like, what the flip is going on back there? It's the Little Mermaid, don't worry about it. Ooh, I have the wig too. I'm so excited. We're moving right along. Okay,